Ivan Stupak, military analyst. Military analyst is joining our broadcast. Ivan, hello. Glad to see you.
Hello. Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for agreeing to talk with us. And here's a question. Let's discuss these Tomahawks once again, because, to put it mildly, they remain a hot topic. Trump said that yes, this decision has almost been made. The only thing left to figure out is whether the US, as I understand it, can participate in target selection, or at the very least, whether the targets that the Ukrainian armed forces plan to strike will be coordinated with them. So your assessment as of now, will we actually get the Tomahawks, or is this still just a political game?
It's a political game, well, for the most part. Look, without rose-colored glasses and without any fantasies, here's what can be said. Just a couple of days ago, Reuters, citing 3 high-ranking sources in the Trump administration, reported that it is unlikely these missiles will end up in Ukraine. Most likely the issue being considered is to transfer something with a shorter range, something similar to Barracuda missiles. There's a lot written about them too, with a smaller range and a smaller warhead, but not Tomahawks. Second, Donald Trump said that he has practically made a decision. Well, something like that. The decision could be either positive or negative, so we shouldn't rush. And on the other hand, we know very well what Donald Trump is like. Today he says one thing, tomorrow he changes his mind. And all these stories of his about, I'll think about it, I haven't decided yet, this could drag on for 2, 3, even 4 months, about these missiles themselves. Well, this topic has been circulating in Ukrainian society for a long time, literally since 2022, that if only we had these missiles, they would really help us a lot. Yes, no question about it. There's also a lot on social media about their technical specifications and how they performed in previous wars. But it should be noted that in such large-scale wars against such a serious adversary, without exaggeration, with these kinds of air defense and electronic warfare systems, well, these missiles have not yet been used. No one knows how they will perform, and the biggest stumbling block is the quantity, the number of these missiles. According to various estimates, about 80 of them are produced per year. Some say the maximum is 100 units. So 80 or 100 pieces, well, Russia could at one time launch more than 100 of its own missiles in a single night. They had that capability. Now, of course, it's less, but still. So if we receive just 2 or 3 missiles a month, it won't change anything. Even if it's 10 missiles, it won't change anything. We're talking about needing several dozen each month. 100 would be even better, of course.
Ivan, a technical question. Is it possible to turn on the light in your car? We'd be able to see you better, if that's possible. In the meantime, I want to ask you about Russia's reaction. Look, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov, commenting on Trump's words, said that the decision to transfer Tomahawk missiles to Kyiv has, to some extent, already been made. He stated that we need to wait for more concrete statements from Washington. Before that, Putin threatened that if this happens, relations will be completely ruined. Still, tell me, has the Kremlin already accepted the fact that Tomahawks might be transferred to Ukraine, and are they somehow changing their military strategy because of this? What does this mean for them?
I understand. Look, no one is changing their strategy. Let me explain why. Because these missiles are not in Ukraine yet, there's only talk about them that maybe Donald Trump will decide to transfer them to Ukraine. How many will there be? 1, 2, 3, 10, 23? No one knows. The Kremlin is fully aware of this. Even if there are, say, 20 of them, like there were, for example, 8 AKMS or a few more, they won't make a real difference. Yes, they can reach far, but still, on the other hand, the Kremlin is well aware that the US will definitely not allow strikes on the Kremlin itself, the mausoleum or the cruiser Aurora. And here, this is the kind of game that dictator Putin and Peskov are playing, not so much preemptively, but rather reactively. If you supply Ukraine with missiles, you will ruin those delicate...
Looks like we're having some connection issues. You see, we're working in real time here. Yes, Ivan, please continue.
My apologies. So even if these missiles are delivered, once again, they won't make a big difference. And again, Putin insists, or rather tries to act preemptively. If you supply the missiles, we will lose those delicate relations that have only just begun to develop. Plus, the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons comes into play. And the Kremlin is offering this kind of sweetener. Let's sign it again, extend the term of this treaty for another year, and then we'll somehow be protected from nuclear escalation. Washington has already responded positively. Oh, that's good news, not bad. So there are negotiations going on. Don't give missiles to Ukraine. We're ready to sign such a treaty with you, or rather, to continue its effect. Plus, we're establishing pretty good commercial relations, so it's perks in exchange for Ukraine not getting these missiles.
Well, it's important to note that we're not completely dependent on Tomahawks, because, as I understand it, Flamingo missiles, at least judging by what is being written, are gradually starting to be used in some capacity. I read an analysis that said they can currently be produced at a rate of about 7 per month. But I'd like you to assess, first of all, how much we actually need Flamingo missiles in large quantities, and do you think they've already been used against military targets? Because so far there hasn't been any concrete confirmation, but there are these bits of news here and there.
It's all just rumors, yes. Well, let's break it down once again. The Flamingo, the first and only more or less verified case of these missiles being used, was on August 30th, 2025, when a strike was carried out, reportedly, on an FSB border service base in occupied Crimea. There was video footage, a missile launch near the water. After that, nothing. Zero launches, zero reports. Yeah, I've heard those rumors too, that missiles landed somewhere, that there was a strike here or there. But what's interesting is this. Your audience might argue that Russian propaganda always hides things. They always say a pop, some smoke, dry grass. I agree, of course. The big Russian propaganda machine like Solovyov, Mardan, it doesn't matter, Skabiva, they will never confirm it. But there is a smaller side to the propaganda, a smaller component. These are the Russian war correspondents. They are always among the first to publish any hot facts because their popularity depends on the sensationalism of those facts. The more good, high-quality information they publish, from their perspective, any kind of novelty, the more in demand their resource becomes, the more monetization, the more attention they get. So basically, it's classic relationships. If there's an inside scoop, it needs to be published. These war correspondents are always the first to report on Ukrainian attack MS strikes, which happened earlier, Ukrainian HIMARS strikes. They show some parts, traces of downed or exploded missiles, publish photos of microelectronics. Look, Nazi missiles, there's American electronics inside. As of now, to be honest, I haven't found any reports from even the more or less top war correspondents about any unknown strikes with unknown means of destruction, or that they were large scale from the Ukrainian side. There hasn't been anything like that. So for now, there's no reason to talk about the use or flights of the Flamingo.
We don't know what it is, but we see where it hits. This, for example, can definitely be said about the Feodosia oil terminal, which has been burning for the second day now. A successful attack was carried out there. Please comment on this. In general, let's talk about the strike on the Russian oil industry in the temporarily occupied peninsula.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
Does the possible new range of weaponry allow us to take even greater, tighter control over the temporarily occupied territories?
Regarding Feodosia, Russian propagandists have already come out with statements saying, "You're all lying, there were just leftovers. Ukrainian propaganda has embarrassed itself, but the leftovers have been burning for a second day." Wow, what kind of leftovers do you have there in your Feodosia terminal? You haven't been able to put it out for 2 days already, and now it's just burning out. Plus, this is affecting fuel supplies to Crimea itself. So, in any case, it looks like they'll have to make statements again saying that, well, maybe not 2 or 3 days, maybe 2 or 3 months, maybe the situation will stabilize. Most likely, it will come down to reducing the amount of fuel sold to each customer. If before it was 30 liters of gasoline, now it's 20, then it will be 10, and then only once every 2 days, and after that only with coupons. Well, really welcome to the late era Soviet Union. In any case, the strikes are convenient, the strikes are good quality strikes. We see problems with fuel, and what's most interesting is that there's a pattern to it, a pattern plus intelligence gathering. There is information on where these flooded terminals are located. There is information, for example, if we go in another direction, about air defense systems, various types of radars that Ukrainian intelligence finds, identifies, and just as successfully strikes, blinding the enemy directly on this occupied territory.
All right. And let me ask you briefly in conclusion, so about Tyumen, 2,000 kilometers from Ukraine. There too reports came in about a drone attack. Is this an expanded geography for the Ukrainian armed forces? Please assess within Russia itself, how much has the area of strikes expanded recently over the past month?
I would approach this a bit differently, not so much in terms of area. Yes, it is impressive, no doubt about it. 2,000 kilometers. Well, it's impressive that our drone was able to get past all those traps, all the concentrations of air defense and electronic warfare systems. That much is clear. Here, I would like to focus on the systematic nature of this. There are a large number of Russian oil refineries that have already encountered Ukrainian drones, not just for the second, but for the third time around. Just recently, Kish Neftekim synthesis was hit, and now once again it's been struck. And there are a lot of such refineries that are just starting to get back on their feet, just recovering from previous strikes. Then another strike hits, again targeting the same units or neighboring ones, and once again there are fuel problems. In other words, this relentless grip of Ukrainian drone aviation, I think it will continue for at least the next 3 months. I'm quite certain of that, and that's no exaggeration.
Let's hope so. I'm tracking these results with your help. Thank you very much. Ivan Stupak, military analyst, was on air with Ukraine Today. Thank you again. All the best.
Goodbye. Take care.